Martin Luther King go on to say that people would be judged by the content of their character. The problem with today is people don't want to be judged at all. Hey, why don't you come to church? Well, I don't want to feel like I'm judged. Pastor, will I feel judged in your church? Oh, you sure will. Because I won't preach at you as hard as I can. They say, oh, I don't want to feel judged. Well, that's why you don't go to church. People say, Pastor, when I come to your office, I feel like I go to the principal's office. You know what that is? That's a guilty conscience, you sinner. You shouldn't feel guilty going to my office. But the Word of God judges us by the content of our character. If somebody's a sinner, we need to say that's sin, lest we say there is no sin. God is not just, but God is fair. And God is about to judge the city of Nineveh and the Assyrian people. The good news for us today is we get a sneak preview at the one we're going to meet. Every knee will bow, every tongue will confess, great and mighty will all come before the Lord. You have an appointment with God. And if you don't know God, if you've never been to God before, it's going to be a bad appointment. But you have an appointed time. What kind of God do we serve? Well, look at verse 2. God is jealous and He is vengeful. A good friend of mine is a United States soldier. He served in Afghanistan. He served in Iraq. He did more than 100 missions, he told me. They called him the chupacabra. I said, what does that mean? He says, people disappear when I'm around there. That's what that means. This guy was a tough soldier, good soldier. But he'd seen a lot of action. And he was venting to me about his tours. And he said, Pastor, sometimes we would go out and the enemy would kill one of our brothers. And I feel guilty because on our next mission, we would always make sure that we took revenge. We would make sure that we were quick to shoot the second time. And sometimes when somebody fell, we would look at each other and say, we're going to get him back for him. And he'd say, Pastor, we knew that we were on a mission and it was just and right. But sometimes we would go too far and be too quick to pull the trigger. And I said, well, you're doing your job. You're a soldier. He goes, Pastor, sometimes it felt good to take revenge. Was I wrong? I said, brother, you understand how God feels. For a human, it is partly wrong. But the desire for revenge is innate. It's within us. For this is the image of God. But God claims revenge. For a human to take revenge, it taints our soul. It brings us to the level of the infraction. But for God to take revenge, He perfectly sees everybody's intents and wills and motives. And so what kind of God is this? What kind of judge do we have on the bench? He's a vengeful God. Some of you spouses are a little bit jealous. I know you are. Because some of you guys, you come and say, Pastor, can you talk to my wife? She's all in my business. She's always checking my phone, checking my email, asking me where I've been. She's all up in my space, and I didn't do anything wrong. I asked the wife, did he do something wrong? Is there some reason why you are always in his business and so jealous? And she'll say, no, I just love him so much that I'm a jealous person. I say, well, now you know how God feels. Because God is a jealous God. He says, you can put no other gods before me. You can have nobody at the level. Jesus said, if you don't love me more than your father, more than your mother, more than everybody, then you're not worthy of me. Why? Because God is jealous. God is demanding. He wants your whole heart, not just part of you. So when we get this sneak preview, what is God? I like what it says in Exodus 15, verse 6. It says, the right hand of God is majestic, and He shatters His enemy. I think the Lord's favorite fighter is also Roy Nelson. No, got a big overhand right. Dropping guys. The Lord is powerful. When He walks, dust is like clouds. Read the book of Revelation. See around His throne. It's glorious. It's awe-inspiring. He's the God of heaven. He's the God that speaks and everything is. I'm sure when the accused heard these things, they trembled. They thought, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? We're guilty. He's vengeful. He's been waiting for us. And I'm sure that the innocent, they smirked and said, this is going to be a good trial. But then He comes to what God also is. Look down just a few verses and we see what God is in verse 3. The Lord is slow to anger. You ever wonder why wicked people last so long? You ever wonder why God doesn't have His finger on the smite button a little bit more often? People do wicked things, say, Lord, where's the lightning? Come on, God. Zap them. How do you allow these people to still be here? Lord, that man's a rapist. Zap him. Lord, show the people that And the Lord doesn't. Why does it seem like the righteous die young and the wicked last so long? I'll tell you the answer. Because God is patient. Because even the worst of us, God gives us another chance and another chance and another chance and another chance. And maybe those that are righteous have already done what they were called to do. I am so thankful that when I was lost, He didn't smite me. Aren't you? The nature of God is not just wrathful and angry. The nature of God is loving and compassionate and kind and slow to anger, even towards our enemies. So how should we deal? Don't forget that the long suffering of God is salvation. In Luke 13, we see the parable of a master that desired some more fruit trees. So his servant came out and he planted a fruit tree. He dug all around it. He put the mold. He put the fertilizer out. This was his prized tree. I have a tree out there, and I don't know. I don't have a green thumb because I planted it like 3.5 years ago, and it looks worse than I planted it. It's a lime tree, I think. I think they suckered me. It's probably just a little tiny tree that doesn't do nothing. That's what it looks like. Well, I dug it up. I got all dirty, got calloused hands, and put the fertilizer around. I did it right, like the book said. Stuck it in there. It's still there. But anyway, the master says, "Hey, it's been a year. Where's my fruit?" Well, I don't know. I'll check it. Well, it's been 2 years. Where's my fruit? Well, I'll check it. It's been 3 years. Where's my fruit? I'll check it. It's been 4 years. Time we cut it down. The servant said, "Master, I'm tired of dealing with this tree. It's a useless tree. Let's just burn it." You know what the master says in Jesus' parable? Give it one more year. Put some more fertilizer on it. Invest a little more. Give it one more chance. I'm so thankful for God that gives me one more chance. Amen. I'm so glad for God that not only gives me another chance, but He blesses me with fertilizer. He said, "I'm going to help you get there. I'm going to help you get there. I'm going to help you get there." God had given the Ninevites time after time after time. Some people look at the Old Testament and the New Testament and they wrongly attribute two different gods. That's 100% wrong. Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, and forever. God was always merciful. What about when He said wipe out the Canaanites? They had it coming. God gave them 400 years to change. And then He wiped them out. What about the days of Noah? Noah preached to them all saying change, repent. And they didn't listen. The last days will be like the days of Noah. But today you and I not only need to recognize the God that we're going to meet someday, but we need to be warned against the people that we used to be. Because we don't have to be the same. In 1 Corinthians 16, Paul writes about some notorious sins the church had. You guys used to be adulterers. You guys used to be liars and murderers and sodomites and hypocrites and all manner of wickedness. That's who you were. And such were some of you. But you're not anymore. You've been washed. You've been cleansed. When I was in high school, my favorite subject of all time was PE class. I'm not bragging, but I got straight A's in PE class from first grade all the way through college. I possibly, with a little extra study, could have been a PE teacher. Maybe. But I was really good at PE class. Always dressed out, stretched. I did good on the mile, okay. I remember one PE class in high school, we were going to have play basketball the whole time. And we had already picked teams. We were so excited all day. And I got to my locker and I forgot my PE clothes. I asked my wife, "Hey, anybody got some shorts I can buy?" "Yeah, I can buy a short." But I couldn't find a shirt. And I really wanted to go play. And I had like a button-up shirt on. I couldn't play in that and be all sweaty. So I looked around, and in the locker room, in the corner, in this dark, dingy, stinky boys' locker room, with sludge on the ground, I see this shirt just crumpled up in the corner. Well, I was desperate. I wanted to play. I walked over. I lifted it up. It was kind of damp, kind of heavy, kind of musty. I shook it out. Guys, if anything's dirty, just shake it out. It kills everything. Shook it out twice. It failed the sniff test with a D-, but hey, close enough, right? I threw that stinky shirt on, the wet sleeves, and man, I played the game of my life. I dunked the ball like 5 times. Okay, that's the lie. Never dunked it. I went out, played, had fun defense, dived for the ball, sweating back and forth. After that, we had lunch, and towards the end of lunch, I started getting this itch right here. And then I look and there's this red that's just creeping up. And I look on my stomach, I get these little bumps everywhere. I go, this is gross, man. And allergic reaction, you eat something? No, I can't think of what it would be. I played basketball, you ate pretty normal, What could it be? I don't know. Is there anything I know? Well, I couldn't find my PE shirt, so I looked on the locker room floor, and it was a little, you knucklehead. That's disgusting. Well, I don't wear that shirt anymore, do I? I washed off. Before I came to church today, I went to my wife and said, "Do I smell okay?" She said, "Oh, yeah, you smell nice." Why? Because you can wash. There's nothing more human in life than change. We're not dogs. We're not cats. You can change. You can envision your future. You can own your life and change. And this is what Nahum's writing. You don't have to be Assyria. We all lived in spiritual Babylon. But I don't anymore. Because the Holy Spirit washed me. Because the Word of God washes me. Because our fellowship washes us. Look at verses 9 and 12. In our old life, we were given all these opportunities and we squandered them. Don't ever take a day. Don't ever take an hour where you're just killing time. Because time is killing you. Make every day the greatest day. We see the prodigal son squandered. Luke 17, they squandered. In Proverbs 21, it talks about the foolishness where they squander, where they lose. I love what Haggai says in chapter 1. If you don't honor God, you're going to go out to the field. You're going to cleanse the field. You're going to toe the field. You're going to get all the weeds out of the field. You're going to water the field, put fertilizer. You're going to sweat. You're going to work all day. You're going to get all the seeds planted. And then if you don't honor God when the harvest comes, you're going to have nothing. You're going to work hard and have nothing to show. Has that ever happened in your life? Where you look back and you got a stack of bills. You go, God, I've been working hard and all I got to show is debt. All I got to show is misery. He says it's like you put money in your pocket, but you got a hole in your pocket. It's like you got your whole paycheck in those dollar bill coins. And don't tell me you never thought about that. That would be pretty cool. You got all those coins, you put them in your pocket. You'd be like Scrooge McDuck money bags. But if you had a hole in your pocket, everywhere you walk, coin drops out, coin drops out, coin drops out. And then at the end of the day, you got nothing to show for your life. Solomon had everything. But he said everything is like nothing. It's like grabbing the wind. Vanity of vanity. That's how I used to live. That's how you used to live. This year, make a resolution. This day, make a resolution. I will not live an empty life. Because Nineveh got wiped out. For 1,000 years they reigned. And then they got wiped out. You and I need to come to that place where we change. Look at verse 11. In this courtroom drama, the bailiff comes out and he looks at the accused and says, listen, the judge says you got bad plans, bad devices, bad counsel. And then the bailiff looks at the lawyer and goes, you got a horrible lawyer. He's wasting your time. He's lying to you. He's milking you. He's giving more court dates so he can take. He's extorting you. He don't care about you. He's giving you bad advice and you're going to lose. You ever had a bad lawyer before? That's a bad experience. That's like having a bad doctor. You turn to them for help, you pay them good money, and then in the end, you double lose. You lost everything you paid them, all that time investment, only to find out maybe you could have won. What foolishness this is. In verse 14, he says, look, in our old life, we had bad advice, bad behavior, missed opportunities, and maybe worst of all, we had a grave that was prepared for us. Here's the choice you have. You can say, God, I want you to prepare a house, a mansion, a dwelling with you forever. Or you can say, God, I want you to prepare a different place. I don't like you, God. I don't want to be around you for eternity. Can I please go to a place where you aren't there? Can I go to a place where your presence aren't felt and you really don't listen? Can I please be away from you forever, God? Because I don't like you. I don't love you. I don't want you. God is so good. You know what God will say? He goes, you know what? I did make a place like that. I didn't prepare it for people. I made it for the devil. But if you really want to go there, okay, you can stay there. It's your choice. Look what it says in verse 14. He says, don't you bring your carved images. Then he goes on to say, I've made you a grave because you're vile. I've already dug your grave. You remember when Jesus was going to Jerusalem and his brothers were teasing him about it? You really going to go? You really going to go? And Jesus said, look, my time has not yet come. It's not time for me to die yet. But what did he look at his brothers and said, but your time is always. You know what that means? It doesn't matter when you die because your life is irrelevant. I don't want my life to be irrelevant. If you ask me, Pastor, what's your fear? Well, you know what my fear is? My fear is that I become irrelevant. I'm afraid that someday I'll become irrelevant to my kids. That's a fear I have. If I ever became irrelevant to my wife, what if I became irrelevant to the church? What if I felt like my life didn't matter for anything? That if I wasn't here, the world would just go on like it was and my loved ones wouldn't even miss me. That's a fear I have. How can we live a life that's not irrelevant? Live a life of honor. Live a life that fears God. The day we did this, the day we said, dying, we will die. The wages of sin is death. And in this is the reason why we all die. Nahum reminds us we will see the judge. So are you ready to see him? Nahum reminds us of who we used to be. So you don't have to live that way anymore. And lastly, Nahum